Imagine this. You're lying awake at 3 a.m. replaying a conversation from 6 hours ago. Did you say the right thing? Did they misunderstand your tone? You check your phone hoping for a message that validates you, that says, "It's okay." You spend your entire life trying to fit in, a social chameleon striving for approval, shaping yourself according to expectations that aren't even your own. You seek validation, you fear judgment, and you hold on to the crippling idea that your worth is measured only by how others perceive you. But what if everything you've been taught about caring, about striving, about controlling perception, is actually the one thing holding you back? What if the key to true happiness, to genuine confidence, and to effortless success isn't in controlling everything, but in letting go? Michel de Montaigne, a thinker centuries ahead of his time, explored this very paradox. His philosophy isn't about grand theories of the cosmos. It's a practical guide to inner freedom, to radical self-acceptance, and to the art of living without these unnecessary burdens. He challenged the very foundations of what we believe about identity, success, and the relentless pressures of society. And by the end of this journey, you will understand the profound truth. The moment you stop caring about external validation, everything in your life finally starts to fall into place. Think about it. How much of your daily stress and frustration comes from trying to meet expectations that don't even belong to you? The expectation to have the perfect career, the perfect relationship, the perfect online life. How often do you hold yourself back from a new opportunity, not because you can't do it, but because you're afraid of being judged as a failure? How much of your precious mental energy is spent on worrying about things that, in the grand scheme of life, have almost no meaning? Montaigne's philosophy reveals a simple, almost radical truth. The more we let go of these external pressures, the more we align with our authentic selves. He believed that life is unpredictable, that perfection is a dangerous illusion, and that self-acceptance is the highest form of wisdom. But here's where most people get it wrong. When they hear, "stop caring," they picture indifference. They imagine a lazy, unmotivated person who withdraws from life, ignores responsibilities, and lets the world burn. This isn't Montaigne's wisdom. This is apathy. Not caring doesn't mean becoming a hermit. It means freeing yourself from the constant need for approval. It means liberating yourself from the paralyzing fear of rejection. It means breaking the exhausting habit of overanalyzing every single action, every word, every text message. It means living on your own terms, being fully present in the moment, and finally understanding that you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Montaigne spent much of his life in seclusion, reflecting on the bizarre nature of human behavior. He observed that people are often prisoners of their own minds, caught in endless, looping cycles of worry, self-doubt, and insecurity. He questioned, why do we allow the opinions of strangers or even friends to shape our most important decisions? Why do we cling so desperately to control when life, by its very nature, is inherently uncertain? Why do we chase an idea of success, a bigger house, a better job title, that was handed to us, not chosen by us? And most importantly, he asked, what would happen if we simply stopped? What if we just dropped the rope? When you stop caring about being perfect, you finally begin to embrace your flaws as part of your character. When you stop caring about external validation, you start living for yourself, perhaps for the first time. When you stop trying to control every outcome, you make space for life to unfold naturally, often in ways better than you could have ever planned. And here's the paradox. The less you care about proving yourself, the more powerful you become. Think about the most confident, charismatic people you've ever met. Are they the ones constantly seeking approval, over-explaining themselves, and nervously trying to be liked by everyone in the room? Or are they the ones who seem at ease with themselves, unbothered by small worries, unapologetically themselves, radiating a calm energy? Montaigne understood this secret long before modern psychology confirmed it. People are drawn to authenticity, not to perfection. When you stop seeking validation, when you embrace your imperfections and trust your own judgment, you naturally become more attractive. not just socially but in every aspect of life. The moment you detach from the fear of failure or judgment, you gain something far more valuable than applause. You gain freedom. The freedom to take risks without overthinking. The freedom to express your true self without hesitation. The freedom to simply exist without constantly measuring your worth by external standards. But here's where it gets truly fascinating. Once you let go of all these unnecessary worries, it's not just that you find peace. Things in your life actually start to improve. It's as if you've unclogged a drain. Relationships become more genuine because you're no longer performing, you're just being. Opportunities seem to come naturally because you're no longer paralyzed by the what-ifs. Decisions become easier because they are based on what you truly want, not what you think you should want. This is the essence of Montaigne's philosophy. He believed that most of our suffering comes from resisting reality, from trying to force life, people, and ourselves into a mold that doesn't fit. But when you release that resistance, when you stop fighting the current, everything begins to align. Think about this. How many times have you hesitated to speak your mind in a meeting because you were afraid of what others would think? How often do you replay conversations in your head, cringing at something you said, worrying about how you were perceived? How much of your life has been shaped by expectations that were never truly yours? Montaigne invites us, he challenges us, to step away from these self-imposed limitations. He challenges us to embrace uncertainty, to accept imperfection, and to stop allowing fear to dictate our choices. And this is just the beginning. Because as we dive deeper into his philosophy, we will uncover practical ways to apply this mindset to your daily life. Ways that will help you break free from these mental barriers, make decisions with clarity, and truly experience the profound freedom that comes from letting go. What really happens when you embrace this mindset? What changes when you stop chasing approval and worrying about every possible outcome? Let's take a step further. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing, with a sudden, calm clarity, that most of the pressures weighing you down were never real to begin with. That the rules you have been following, the expectations you have been trying to meet, and the fears that have kept you stuck, were all illusions. Illusions created by societal conditioning, by marketing, and by your own mind. Montaigne understood that human beings are naturally anxious. We are forecasting machines, constantly overthinking, trying to predict the future, and struggling against the unknown. But what if the key to happiness isn't in solving every problem, but in surrendering to the fact that some things are simply and beautifully out of our control? One of Montaigne's most powerful lessons is this: the world will never fully understand you, and that is perfectly okay. Think about it. How often do we waste precious energy trying to explain ourselves, justify our choices, or prove our worth to people who may never truly see us? We hold back our true opinions to avoid conflict. We suppress our real desires to fit in. We constantly look outside of ourselves for a validation that can only, ever, come from within. Montaigne believed that so much of our suffering comes from caring too much about things that do not and will not ever serve us. He observed how people tie themselves in knots over petty concerns. An unkind comment, a social snub, a minor failure. We hold on to grudges, fears, and insecurities that ultimately add no value to our lives. And yet, when you step back, you realize that most of these worries are utterly insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop obsessing over a problem, a solution naturally appears? Or that when you stop chasing someone's attention, they suddenly become more interested? This is not a coincidence. It is a reflection of a deeper truth. When you let go, life flows. The problem is, most people resist this idea. They believe that if they stop caring, they will lose their motivation, that letting go means giving up. But as we've learned, this is a profound misunderstanding. Not caring does not mean apathy. It means shifting your focus. It means becoming an active, conscious curator of your own energy. It means choosing to focus only on what truly matters and freeing yourself from the weight of all the unnecessary burdens. Montaigne encouraged us to embrace imperfection, not just in ourselves but in the world around us. He understood that striving for absolute control is an exhausting, never-ending battle. Life is unpredictable. And no matter how much we try to plan, prepare, or manipulate outcomes, there will always be things beyond our reach. So why not surrender to this truth? Why not accept that mistakes, failures, and uncertainties are simply part of the human experience? Consider how much lighter you would feel if you stopped trying to control every detail. If you stopped overanalyzing every decision. If you stopped fearing failure and instead saw it as just data, as another step on your journey. Montaigne reminds us that every great thinker, leader, and artist in history has faced failure, rejection, and misunderstanding. Yet they did not allow these things to define them. They moved forward, unbothered by the opinions of the crowd, because they understood that true success is not found in external validation. It is found in living authentically. And there is another strange paradox in life. The moment you stop needing something, it often comes to you effortlessly. When you stop chasing approval, people respect you more. When you stop fearing failure, opportunities arise. And when you stop trying to control everything, life begins to flow in ways you never expected. This is one of the most profound lessons in Montaigne's philosophy. Detachment is not a form of escape. It is a path to deeper fulfillment. By letting go of the need to force outcomes, you open yourself to the natural rhythm of life. And in doing so, you begin to experience something truly remarkable, a sense of peace, power, and genuine connection. At this point, you might be wondering, if letting go is so powerful, why do so many of us remain trapped in the endless cycle of anxiety, approval-seeking, and control? The answer is simple: fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of failure. Fear of what might happen if we loosen our grip. Society has conditioned us to believe that if we stop micromanaging every aspect of our lives, everything will fall apart. But the truth is, when you stop caring about the things that don't truly matter, everything falls into place. Montaigne's philosophy is not about recklessness. It is about wisdom. He teaches us that by letting go of unnecessary worries, we gain clarity. By releasing control, we gain freedom. And by embracing uncertainty, we gain a life of deeper meaning. Think about the greatest moments of your life. Were they planned down to the last detail? Or did they happen spontaneously, when you least expected them? The most beautiful things in life cannot be forced. Love, inspiration, creativity. They come when you stop chasing them, when you create space for them to appear. This is the paradox. What you hold on to too tightly often slips away. But what you release often comes back to you in greater ways than you imagined. Montaigne reminds us that life is not meant to be a struggle. Yes, there will be challenges, but fighting against them, resisting them, obsessing over them, that only adds to our suffering. Instead, he encourages us to flow with life, to accept its imperfections, to laugh at its absurdities, and to find joy even in the chaos. Because here is the ultimate realization. You do not need to control everything to be happy. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. You do not need to fear uncertainty because life is uncertain. And that is what makes it beautiful. When you stop caring about external validation, you become truly confident. When you stop fearing failure, you become unstoppable. When you stop trying to control every little detail, you allow space for magic to happen. That is what Montaigne understood centuries ago. Wisdom is not in trying to conquer life, but in learning to dance with it. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, what can you let go of today? What unnecessary weight have you been carrying that no longer serves you? And what would your life look like if you simply trusted that things will fall into place? Because the moment you stop caring about the wrong things, the right things will find their way to you. And that is the true power of Montaigne's philosophy. Thanks for sharing the silence.